Help people understand what a conflict with North Korea would be like and how it would be different.
A conflict in North Korea, John, would be probably the worst kind of fighting in most people's lifetimes. Why do I say this? The North Korean regime has hundreds of artillery cannons and rocket launchers within range of one of the most densely populated cities on Earth, which is the capital of South Korea. We are working with the international community to deal with this issue. This regime is a threat to the region, to Japan, to South Korea, and in the event of war, they would bring danger to China and to Russia as well. But the bottom line is it would be a catastrophic war if this turns into combat, if we're not able to resolve this situation through diplomatic means.
North Korea has been testing missiles. Are they getting any better at their capability?
We always assume that with a testing program, they get better with each test.
It is becoming almost a weekly exercise, and tonight we are again confronted with a North Korean missile test, one that could bring the communist regime closer to its goal of attaining a nuclear weapon. Lucas Tomlinson is live at the Pentagon with details on the latest launch. Good evening, Lucas.
Good evening, James. U.S. officials say the Scud-C missile splashed down 240 miles from Japan after first reaching outer space. It's North Korea's third consecutive missile test in the past 3 weekends, going back to Mother's Day. Fox News has also learned about a separate test this weekend involving a surface-to-air missile called the KN-06, similar to the Russian S-300 design. Images from North Korea's state-run media show the presence of Kim Jong-un, leader of the rogue communist regime. U.S. officials say a North Korean MiG fighter jet crashed near the launch site of that surface-to-air missile test. In an interview on CBS, Secretary Mattis would not draw any red lines on North Korea, instead choosing to keep his cards close.
I want to go to North Korea just for a second, because we started our newscast with the breaking news that North Korea has launched some sort of projectile that most likely landed in Japanese waters. What do you think is the way to handle North Korea going forward?
I do think the focus on China is important because China has leverage that no one else has. They provide the bulk of the food and fuel to North Korea. They also, some of their banks also allow them to remain connected with the international financial system. So they do have leverage. China has always been concerned about a collapse of North Korea. So the key challenge here, I think, is to somehow make it clear that while we want diplomacy to be the way to resolve this, and in fact see it as really an imperative, by the same token, we don't want to be left with an option only of using military force, because the one thing we can't live with is a North Korea that has a nuclear weapon that they can put on top of an ICBM that can reach the United States.
Right.
Well, ISIS supporters taking to Twitter to celebrate and praise the deadly bombing in Manchester yesterday. One message on Twitter said, quote, "It seems that bombs of the British Air Force over children of Mosul and Raqqa has just came back to Manchester." Another user posting an unverified ISIS threat video warning, quote, "This is only the beginning."
I think what this week highlights for us is that while most of the world's attention has been focused on ISIS in the last 3 years, and rightly so, other terrorist organizations continue to thrive and proliferate around the globe. Al-Qaeda is now operational in more countries than it's ever been. We've had the Taliban, major resurgence in Pakistan this year. Organizations in Africa like Boko Haram in Nigeria, Al-Shabaab in Somalia are creating havoc in that region of the world. And so I think while it's right to focus on ISIS, we got to keep this picture broad.
Say it one more time, just for, say it one more time. And explain what I did to you one more time.
Talking that stupid Spanish around here
Speaking
when everybody
Spanish.
else is English-speaking American.
I encountered this lady that was on my way, and I asked her politely, you know, if I could pass, and I said, excuse me, and she was being very hateful immediately. Whatever.
Get out of here.
No, I'm not gonna get out of here. No, I'm not, because this is my country. Yes, this is my country. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is.
That's none of your business. Stay out of it.
I don't need to stay out of it. I said, excuse me.
Oh.
Well, this video, it's really hard to watch a disabled woman being robbed, and even more infuriating to know is not a single person in that store tried to help the woman as this was happening. Fox 13's Evan Lambert is live at the Amscot in Tampa where this occurred. And you spoke to the woman today. Evan, how's she doing?
Kelly, she says she just has cuts and bruises. She showed us some of them. She was at this Amscot off Waters and North Florida Avenue. She was inside at the ATM taking out cash, and that is when a man attacked.
It looks like this car may have hit a person who is in the road. We saw DPS standing over a naked man who is laying in the freeway, may have been hit by a car.
Thankful. I thank the Lord when I got up.
Brand new at 5, a safety alert making us concerned about the people we should trust. Phoenix police looking for a guy right now accused of pretending to be one of their own, actually pulling somebody over.
A suspect pulled someone over, posing as police, then robbing the driver. He even had some type of uniform on.
There was no patches on that uniform. There was no name tags either. He was wearing a badge.
Police say that is obviously a flashing red flag, and if an officer isn't wearing one, ask for it.
Another new and explosive report from Circa about your privacy rights. Sarah Carter and John Solomon just filed a new story with the headline, quote, declassified memos show FBI illegally shared spy data on Americans with private parties.
A police officer came in contact with a powdery substance after searching a suspect's car, causing him to accidentally overdose. Washington Township police tell us the officer was called to a suspected drunk driving accident. The suspect told police his ID was in the center console of his car. Now, the police chief tells me when that officer opened up that console, a powder went up in the air. That's when the officer turned around and started walking toward his vehicle. He said he was getting dizzy, felt his heart racing, and felt like he was going to pass out. Paramedics gave him 2 doses of Narcan and sent him to the hospital. He was released within hours and is now okay. As for that powdery substance, the police chief tells me they won't know whether it was heroin or fentanyl until they get the test results back in the coming days.
Accused of throwing semen on women at a Southwest Portland grocery store returns to the scene of the crime and is arrested tonight.
Portland's infamous semen thrower.
And then had felt something hit me again, and I just kind of stopped and stood there in my tracks. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Purportedly returns to the scene of the crime. At the Safeway on Southwest Barber, police cuffed this man, Manuel Banuelos Alcala, who they believe is the perpetrator. A couple of weeks ago, Manuel was unwittingly throwing semen on women at grocery stores.
5 thieves looking for quick cash are stealing pickup truck tailgates.
Phoenix police say they've had 165 similar thefts reported over the last year. Crooks looking for quick cash.
But they are stealing these and turning around selling them on Craigslist for, $100, $200.
Officers have now tied at least 7 to this woman, Lisa Ann Navarro. A citizen tipped off police, who used undercover detectives and a helicopter to track her and her alleged accomplice, Clarissa Aguilar, last Thursday.
We made one change to the molecule vancomycin that overcomes what is the present resistance to vancomycin. And then we added to the molecule 2 small changes that built into the molecule 2 additional ways in which it can kill bacteria. So the antibiotic has 3 different, we call them mechanisms, by which it kills bacteria. And resistance to such an antibiotic would be very difficult to emerge. So it's a molecule designed specifically to address the emergence of resistance. Resistance is beginning to emerge to the antibiotic, and the question has been, where do we go for the next durable antibiotic? It still needs the preclinical development, and so we do need to prove its safety and efficacy in preclinical models. But I would say that we are in the process of where in the next 5 years that all should be possible.
Check out this incredible video from Davie County earlier this evening. It shows what appears to be a funnel cloud and also some damage there. 3 people were reported in.
Our big story this morning, all the damage that was left behind in a small town in Sampson County after a tornado touched down. Houses damaged, trees down, people without power still this morning.
As thousands of people throughout the county try pushing through after these storms, many are left without homes and
Preying on the weak and hungry. Cholera has rapidly spread throughout the country. This hospital, already crippled by war, is overwhelmed. Cholera is cheap and easy to treat. But the UN says the delivery of aid has been slowed down by both sides, which means supplies don't reach the people in need. So far, the outbreak has killed over 400 people.